the end of each section on each of these municipalities, it's always mentioned that all 6 of you are responsible for the crimes that are then described in legal terms. And you'll find in those paragraphs also a reference to the listing in part 6, indicating what crimes were committed in that localities, although not every and each type of crime was, according to the indictment, committed in each of these municipalities. There are, however, 2 exceptions to the fact that you're held responsible, all 6 of you, for the crimes committed in all of these municipalities. Mr. Prlić, you are not charged with events that allegedly took place in Prlić municipality in October 1992. That is on the 23rd of October, when the Herceg-Bosna HVO forces attacked Bosnian Muslims in Prlić town, which attack was followed by plunder, arson and destruction of Bosnian Muslim homes and other properties, rounding up Bosnian Muslims and detaining them. You're therefore also not charged with what happened on the 24th of October, as the indictment says, and that is an attack on Prlić, 1 kilometer south of Prlić town, which attack included the killing of 2 civilians and the detention of Bosnian Muslims. But the charges against you include the events that happened in 1993 as described in the indictment. The second exception of you being held responsible by the prosecutor, all 6, for the events in all the locations, is that you, Mr. Prlić, you are not charged with what happened in Gornji Fakov in January 1993, and therefore you'll see that your name does not appear in paragraph 72 of the indictment, where only 5 names are mentioned as being responsible for what happened in Gornji Fakov in January 1993. This is a general overview and a summary of the indictment. Of course, it's not detailed in legal terms, it's not detailed in factual terms, but it is a summary. If either the defense or the prosecution or any of the accused finds that my summary is incorrect or should be supplemented, I'd like to hear it now so that we could refer to the specific part of the indictment you find is not properly presented in my summary. Is there any need for correction?
Your Honor, on behalf of the prosecution, there's no need for any addition.
Yes. I see that the defense is remaining silent, and I see no signs of any objection from the accused, so I take it that I do not need to correct or supplement my summary. Since you indicated that all 6 accused wanted to enter a plea today and not at a later stage, I'd first, after having given the summary, again ask a question to all accused, although I'm aware that some of you have already answered that question. Mr. Prlić, do you understand the indictment brought against you?
I do, Your Honor. I understand the indictment.
Mr. Stojic, same question for you. Do you understand the indictment?
I do, Your Honor. I understand the indictment fully.
I ask you the same question.
Your Honor, I fully understood the indictment in the language that I understand.
Mr. Petkovic.
Yes, Your Honor, I understand the indictment.
Mr. Zoric.
Yes, Your Honor, I understand the indictment.
Then finally for you, Mr. Prlić, and I add to it that you are not held responsible for the events in Prozor in October 1992, and that you're not charged at all with the events in January 1993 in Gornji Vakuf. Did you understand, including this specific element, the indictment brought against you?
I understand the indictment, Your Honor.
Thank you. Then I'll invite you to enter a plea on each of the counts. I will read them to you, count by count, and then ask whether you plead guilty or not guilty on that specific count. Count 1. Persecutions on political, racial and religious grounds, a crime against humanity, punishable under Statute Article 5H, 7.1 and 7.3. Mr. Prlić, how do you plead to count 1?
Your Honor, I wish to plead to all counts of the indictment. I don't think it is necessary to enumerate all of them, at least as far as I'm concerned.
I will read them all out, but if all accused intend to plead in the same way to all counts, I could read them one by one and then ask you at the end what your plea is on each of the 26 counts brought against you. But then I need some confirmation that you'll have a similar plea on each count, because otherwise it would not function. May I ask it in a different way? If any one of you wants to give different pleas, to enter different pleas on the various counts, I'd like to be informed. Since I do not receive any reaction, I take it that you want to plead, to enter the same plea on each count. I'll then read them one by one. Count 1, I repeat it, persecutions on political, racial and religious grounds, a crime against humanity, punishable under Statute Articles 5H, 7.1 and 7.3. Count 2, murder, a crime against humanity, punishable under Statute Articles 5A, 7.1 and 7.3. Count 3, willful killing, a grave breach of the Geneva Conventions of 1949, punishable under Statute Articles 2A, 7.1 and 7.3. Count 4, rape, a crime against humanity, punishable under Statute Articles 5G, 7.1 and 7.3. Count 5, inhuman treatment, sexual assault, a grave breach of the Geneva Conventions of 1949, punishable under Statute Articles 2B, 7.1 and 7.3. Count 6, deportation, a crime against humanity, punishable under Statute Articles 5D, 7.1 and 7.3. Count 7, unlawful deportation of a civilian, a grave breach of the Geneva Conventions of 1949, punishable under Statute Articles 2G, 7.1 and 7.3. Count 8. Inhumane acts, forcible transfer. A crime against humanity, punishable under Statute Articles 5I, 7.1 and 7.3. Count 9. Unlawful transfer of a civilian, a grave breach of the Geneva Conventions of 1949, punishable under Statute Articles 2G, 7.1 and 7.3. Count 10. Imprisonment, a crime against humanity, punishable under Statute Articles 5E, 7.1 and 7.3. Count 11. Unlawful confinement of a civilian, a grave breach of the Geneva Conventions of 1949, punishable under Statute Articles 2G, 7.1 and 7.3. Count 12. Inhumane acts, conditions of confinement, a crime against humanity, punishable under Statute Articles 5I, 7.1 and 7.3. Count 13. Inhuman treatment, conditions of confinement, a grave breach of the Geneva Conventions of 1949, punishable under Statute Articles 2B, 7.1 and 7.3. Count 14. Cruel treatment, conditions of confinement, in violations of the laws and customs of war, as recognized by Article 3.1a of the Geneva Conventions, punishable under Statute Articles 3, 7.1 and 7.3. Count 15. Inhumane acts, a crime against humanity, punishable under Statute Articles 5I, 7.1 and 7.3. Count 16. Inhuman treatment, a grave breach of the Geneva Conventions of 1949, punishable under Statute Articles 2B, 7.1 and 7.3. Count 17. Cruel treatment, a violation of the laws or customs of war, as recognized by Article 3.1a of the Geneva Conventions, punishable under Statute Articles 3, 7.1 and 7.3. Count 18. Unlawful labor, a violation of the laws or customs of war, as recognized by Article 40, 51 and 95 of Geneva Convention 4, and Articles 49, 50 and 52 of Geneva Convention 3, punishable under Statute Articles 3, 7.1 and 7.3. Count 19. Extensive destruction of property, not justified by military necessity, and carried out unlawfully and wantonly. A grave breach of the Geneva Conventions of 1949, punishable under Statute Articles 2D, 7.1 and 7.3. Count 20. Wanton destruction of cities, towns or villages, or devastation not justified by military necessity, a violation of the laws or customs of war, punishable under Statute Articles 3B, 7.1 and 7.3. Destruction or willful damage done to institutions dedicated to religion or education as Count 21, a violation of the laws or customs of war, punishable under Statute Articles 3D, 7.1 and 7.3. Count 22. Appropriation of property, not justified by military necessity and carried out unlawfully and wantonly. A grave breach of the Geneva Conventions of 1949, punishable under Statute Articles 2D, 7.1 and 7-3. Count 23. Plunder of public or private property. A violation of the laws or customs of war. Punishable under Statute Articles 3E, 7.1 and 7.3. Count 24. Unlawful attack on civilians. Mostar. A violation of the laws or customs of war as recognized under customary law and Article 51 of Additional Protocol 1 and Article 13 of Additional Protocol 2 to the Geneva Conventions of 1949, punishable under Statute Articles 3, 7.1 and 7.3. Coming to count 25, Mr. Scott, could you already clarify the reference to Article 3D?
Yes, Your Honor. Your Honor has a fine I, and I think would be correct to say that the D is an error, the sub D, and it should simply read Articles 3, 7.1, and 7.3.
Thank you for your clarification. I take it that this will get a follow-up in writing, Mr. Scott. Count 25. Unlawful infliction of terror on civilians. Mostar. A violation of the laws or customs of war, as recognized under customary law and Article 51 of Additional Protocol 1 and Article 13 of Additional Protocol 2 to the Geneva Conventions of 1949, punishable under Statute Article 3, 7.1 and 7.3. Count 26. Cruel treatment. The Mostar siege. A violation of the laws or customs of war, as recognized by Article 3.1a of the Geneva Conventions, and punishable under Statute Articles 3, 7.1 and 7.3. Mr. Prlić, would you please stand? How do you plead to each and every of the 26 counts just read out to you?
No, Your Honor, I am not guilty, and the plea is the same to all counts. I was not a master of war, as I have been made out to be in this indictment.
Mr. Prlić, this is the moment where you are invited to enter a plea, not to give further statements. I do understand that you plead not guilty on all 26 counts. Is that correct?
I wanted to answer briefly in order to avoid answering to every individual count. I merely want to say 2 or 3 words. I do not mean to be giving a speech, so if I may be allowed to say 2 or 3 words.
Yes, it's a custom in this courtroom that if you want to address the court on anything you're not asked for, you ask permission for that. And since I do understand what you say now as a request for adding a few words, I'll consider it and I'll let you know whether I'll give an opportunity to you to address the court. Then please be seated. Mr. Stojic. How do you plead to each and every count of the 26 counts?
Not guilty.
I just read to you? I do understand the not guilty plea to be valid for all 26 counts.
Your Honor, not guilty on any of the counts.
Thank you very much, Mr. Stojic. Mr. Prlić, I invite you to enter a plea on each and every of the 26 counts I just read to you. Do you plead guilty or not guilty?
Not guilty on any of the 26 counts of this indictment.
Thank you, Mr. Prlić. Mr. Petković, do you plead guilty or not guilty on each and every of the 26 counts just read to you?
Your Honor, not guilty on any of the counts.
Thank you, Mr. Petković. Mr. George, may I invite you to enter a plea on each of the 26 counts just read to you?
Your Honor, I plead not guilty on any of the counts of the indictment.
Mr. Prlić, may I invite you to enter a plea on each and every of the counts, the 26 counts just read to you?
Your Honor, my plea is not guilty.
Thank you, Mr. Prlić. Madam Registrar, it should be put on record that all 6 accused have entered a plea of not guilty on each of the 26 counts brought against them. Since you have now all arrived in the UN detention unit, I'd like to hear from you whether there are any observations to be made in respect of the detention circumstances, whether there are any complaints, or is there anything this court should know about your detention circumstances. I'll put a similar question to you in respect of your health situation, whether the chamber should be informed about specific aspects of your health or your family circumstances. If there's any need to go into private session, that means that the public will not hear what you say. Please inform me, because for reasons of privacy, we could, especially on these issues, go into private session when needed and requested. May I first, in respect of both detention circumstances and in respect of health and family situation, invite you, Mr. Prlić, to say whatever you'd like to say. The other issue will be left for a later moment.
Except for the fact that I do not believe I should be kept in detention, I have no objections to make to the conditions of detention itself.
Yes. And from your silence, may I take it that health and family situation doesn't require any specific attention? May I then put the same question to you, Mr. Stojic?
No objections, Your Honor. No comments about any health issues or as regards the conditions of my detention.
Yes, thank you. Mr. Prlić, same question, 3 aspects to you.
Your Honor, I have no objections in relation to my family situation, my health, or the conditions of my detention. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Petković, any submissions to be made in respect of...
I have no complaints about the conditions of detention, and may they not be changed. I have no other comments. Your Honor, I am not exactly thrilled by the fact that I am being held in detention, but as for the conditions of my detention, I have no complaints and I feel well.
Mr. George, would you please wait until a question is asked to you, not because I would be offended if you tell me something, but now it appears on the transcript as if Mr. Petkovic was still speaking, because you followed him up without any question being put in between, and then the transcribers, who are responsible for the transcript, will just continue to write down the words spoken. And I therefore, at this moment, I have to correct for the transcript. Yes, I see that it now says Mr. Prlić, not as usual the accused Prlić, but page 42, line 5, it's Mr. Prlić who is speaking. Then, Mr. Prlić, the same question to you: detention circumstances, health and family circumstances.
No complaints about the conditions of my detention, Your Honour, or my family situation. The only thing I wish to say, Your Honour, if I may be allowed to ask for your permission, I only found out about the indictment while I was bedridden in Ljubljana, in a hospital. As my defense counsel has already informed you, I voluntarily gave myself up to the tribunal, and what I would like to ask for is to be medically examined by a doctor at the detention facility so that the relevant medical documents could be prepared. I have already sent some of my medical documents to the tribunal and I delivered some when I arrived in the prison unit. Thank you very much.
May I ask you one question? Have you already been seen by a doctor in the detention unit?
Yes, but it was a general practitioner, and I explained what my condition was about. The general practitioner then said that he would inform one of his colleagues, a specialist in neurology, but none of the doctors have shown up so far. I do require further medical assistance and care. I think it is plain for all to see that my condition is not very good, Your Honour.
Yes. I'll take care that the attention of the registrar will be drawn to the fact that you that you underwent surgery recently, and that proper attention is given to your medical condition. Whether that means that a specialist would see you today or yesterday or the day after tomorrow is not in my hands at this moment, but I'll look at it that the specific attention of the registrar will be drawn to your health condition. Then Mr. Prlić, you wanted to address the court, and although it's not a custom in this court that statements are given in relation to the plea you entered, if you'd like to clarify very shortly and without giving speeches, I'll allow you to do so. But please be aware that if you want to make an unsworn statement at trial, the rules specifically provide for you to give an unsworn statement. I also have to warn you that whatever you say here, it's up to the chamber finally what value, what evidentiary value it would be given. So I don't know whether you consulted with counsel when you requested me to address me. That's one issue. And the second is, if you want to address the chamber, although the other judges will read the transcript, it might be a better occasion to do so when all three judges are there. But if you want to make a very short statement, I would say not more than 1 to 2 minutes, then I'll give you an opportunity to do so.
Thank you for your understanding, Your Honour. All I was about to say were 2 or 3 words, or rather sentences. I want to say that I sympathise with Bosnia and Herzegovina and all the victims referred to in the indictment. I merely wish to point out that I believe that this tribunal will give me an opportunity to present the truth about my own involvement in the war in Bosnia and Herzegovina, and that the truth itself will set me free and acquit me on all the counts of the indictment. I just wish to add yet again to reiterate that I plead not guilty on all counts of the indictment. It was my original intention to say as much as this, and I don't think that is too much.
You'll get an opportunity in due course to present your own case and to bring to the attention of the chamber whatever you deem useful. And I do understand that you again wanted to underline your not guilty plea on all 26 counts. All the items on my agenda, apart from one, have been addressed. The one item still there is that the chamber has received a... No, perhaps we first turn into private session for 1 second. Any issue one of the parties, either defense or prosecution, would like to raise at this very moment?
No, Your Honor. Thank you very much for the prosecution.
No issues to be raised by the prosecution. Let me then put it in a negative way. Do I well understand that no one of the defense counsel wants to raise an issue at this very moment? Yes. Then this concludes this initial appearance. There's no need at this moment to set new dates, since all the accused have entered pleas on all counts. Therefore, we'll adjourn without any new dates set at this very moment.
All right. Veuillez vous lever.